What is up, everyone? Harry the Big Dog here. It has been a long time, and we are live again with the DJ interview. Thank everybody for coming on and supporting and staying to the end, I hope. So, I'm gonna get this thing started like real quick because we got this dude from the Bronx. I made a couple of notes here, so I'm gonna look at my notes. um, this next DJ we got, he started DJing in 1983, 1984 on some Gemini 101 belt drive turntables. For everybody who knows what those are, those are the golden oldies. He did the community centers, he did the talent shows. So, dude, people was hearing him and they told him he sound like Terminator X and Jazzy Jeff, but with that Fresh Prince look. So, you're but then he walked away in 1997, thinking it was time to grow up, get married, have a family, and do all the grown up stuff. And then I guess he got that bug again, 2019. What he said, he dug out the turntables from the basement, started practicing for 2 years, and now he's getting ready to be in some competitions. So, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, DJ Level Kev. What's going on, my bro?
What's going on, brother? Thank you, man. Thank you much. That Fresh Prince thing is a thing of the past, obviously.
Some things ain't around anymore, right?
Yeah. He's in hiatus.
But yo, thank you for coming on and telling your story. I know it's an interesting one because we talked already, but let everybody know before we start your government name if you want, and
Indeed.
how you got your DJ name.
Good one. Government name is Kevin Norman. Two first names. Grew up lots of ridicule. Having two first names. It was always Norman Kevin or Norman Bates or something to that effect. Right. And when I was younger, like living in the Bronx where I grew up, didn't really have access to all of the channels of communication that we have now. So everybody was a first initial something. My original DJ name was K Swift, right?
Mm,
And until one day I heard MC Light talk about K Swift, right, in a song as her
right.
DJ. And so like oddly enough, when you're young, when you're a teenager, and back then battle culture was big, and it was really dope because it was mostly nonviolent. It was all about competitiveness and everything else. I rallied almost my whole block to like travel to Brooklyn to look for K Swift to battle for the name. but it never happened. Brooklyn was too far.
Ah,
I
funny.
was just K Swift North. Yeah, I was just K Swift North for a while.
Like West
And
Coast
then
Dr. Dre and East Coast Dr. Dre, right?
there you go. Who's the man, right? There you go. So so the hiatus, served me well. Back, that name was still, I would guess for me passe, right? Like it was a different. I had gotten to a certain level as you had described a little bit in terms of skill and talent. Again, channels of communication didn't allow for the same thing. It was word of mouth, and I was a young, teenager following like some big dogs in my own area. But I was gaining notoriety and like just working that local circuit from the ground up. But
Right.
then coming back in these last several years, I wanted to have just a clean break from that, is what I was thinking. And, something more in line with like I've always loved, I've been good at, even when I went back to school, just like naming businesses and coming up with catchphrases. My wife calls them Kevinisms. So the Level Kev thing just stuck.
Right.
You know, it just came to me. The Level Heads Entertainment, the name of the company that I used when it was not just me, it was me and a couple other DJs, and we were doing parties. That was the name, that was the brand back then, all those years, and it held up. Nobody ever wanted it, went after it, held up, and still is today. So I figured I'd get a name in line with that, and voila.
Nice. So we got some people shouting you out. Belinda
I see that. I
Barnes.
appreciate that. I appreciate
I
that.
love you guys.
Oh,
Jason
that's a beautiful
Hodge is
thing.
in the building saying, bro.
What's going on? What's going on, folks?
DJ P
Love you.
Nice in the building.
Dope.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the D.
So let's go back to the 80s to when you started. What got you this itch? What made you want to DJ? Now for everybody who's on, this dude has been around the Edenwall area, so big up to all my Edenwall peoples.
Big up to
He's been
Edenwall.
around the Edenwall for a long time. And some of you might know him already. So
yeah, yes indeed. There might be some folks out there that's like, man, that looked like the kid that used to clean my building.
Yeah,
you would be correct. You would be correct.
You would be right.
So like in the 80s, the thing that got me the itch. I'm the youngest of four. My brother was 10 years older than I was. So I'm born 72. He was born 62. He was coming up in the thick of it. He was contemporaries and in the streets with his Kango and, with every outfit and aspect of what was going on in the streets back then, right? I don't need to name them all. It was just different. It was the same, but it was different. And I watched and I followed, I learned before he went off to the Navy. And when he went off to the Navy, I just kind of felt like somebody needed to carry the mantle. My brother-in-law also had real turntables at his crib. He lived over on 183rd and University.
Right.
And when I would go over there with my nephew and see him, like he would make us go with him to play basketball. He would make us sit and watch him play music. And it was just fascinating to me. Third grade is when I started to fall in love with music. I got put into a performing arts class. Shout out to New York City Public Schools. It's PS 85 on 184th and Marion. Those teachers in that performing arts class really, they kind of pushed us into music in a way that was different than what we were seeing and hearing on a regular. Right. And I fell in love with all aspects of percussion and keyed instruments. And then when I saw people on turntables using them like instruments, as some would say, it was just like, my dad's got that console in the living room. And let me see if I can emulate that. And I couldn't, but I wanted to, And then summer youth, you jump forward a couple of years. I was doing my thing, man, in terms of shoveling cars, anything I could to make money. Summer youth shows up. I get those Gemini turntables. Street battles were very, oh my goodness, man. Me and a couple of buddies, we would pool our resources, One would have a turntable, another would have another turntable, somebody would have a mixer. We sneak into somebody's house, parents that worked and were gone, and that's where we did our thing. So, yeah. And it all came together. A couple of years later, everybody wants to make records. We kind of get into that mode. So parties have ramped up, the money ramped up a bit, and I got some 1200s, and one in a battle, and the others I bought. And from there, was no looking back. They were like the best thing that could ever happen. It was just like nothing else I'd ever touched, dealing with Technique and Gemini belt drive turntables. Once I got on those 1200s for the first time, I was like, yeah, I definitely want to do this. This is insane.
So that span of time when you got the 1200s, which was, you said about 89-ish, 88-ish?
Yeah, I would say maybe more like 86, 87.
86, 87. Yeah. And then 10 years later, you decide to just like, I'm done. Yeah. What happened in them 10 years before you kind of like took a 22-year hiatus?
So 17 years old, I started working at Edenwald Houses for, NYCHA as they call it now. I call it the Authority. That was 1990. I was turning 18 that year. Lost my mom in 93. I just turned 21.
Okay.
So, it was a serious point of inward thinking for me. Like, am I gonna chase this down, or am I gonna kind of pursue this career? Or I was planning, like some of my cousins in the chat would know, I was planning to leave New York. I was just gonna show up at their doorstep in Virginia when I lost mom, and leave the
we
job and
talked
leave
about the
everything
Virginia
else.
area.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So that I had all those things running through my mind, and my focus was slipping from music. Right, I was still into it, but I just wasn't really like chasing down jobs. I was a little less available. I was really starting to focus more on the job, and man upstairs guided me the right way. The job
Right.
afforded me a great career and a lot of opportunity. I did really well for myself with the Housing Authority. Did a lot of good parties there as well, retirement parties, and other stuff. But through that 10-year span, it was really just about that complicated process of becoming an adult, going through loss, kind of thinking about, is there something I can do and retire? Like, if I left the city gig, could I DJ and be okay when I'm 50, 60? I wasn't sure.
Right.
It looked like, it sounded like it from radio and TV. And I grew up in the the Bounce Squad, Ron G, and SNS and mixtape era, right, when DJs were grabbing mics and it was kind of changing. I saw a lot of transition. I never was one for the microphone. So that was another determining factor for me. I was like, I don't know if I can or want to DJ that way. Never really applied myself. Now I know I obviously can if I apply myself, but it just wasn't my thing. I picked DJing because I was an introvert and I wanted to be away from the mic. So all of those things, all of those different things going through my head on a consistent basis. I get 1 or 2 promotions on the job, become a supervisor, and I'm like, hey, maybe it's maybe maybe I should chase this down. It's starting to look a little more lucrative, right? And I get my weekends back to myself, because DJ is a heavy, you're in rotation on the weekends, kind of. It's that kind of thing, and I wanted my weekends, so that was another deciding factor. And then relationships, children, relationships, and those were the things that tipped the scales. And I always feel like, even on a job, I'm like, as you age, you should move out of the way and give people opportunity. I've always felt like that. So in 97, that was it. I just don't know. I'm sometimes can make these snap judgments, right? Like I decided to stop drinking 3 years ago, 4th of July weekend, like just not drinking anymore. Same thing with DJ in 97. Like, I'm just going to walk away from it and focus on this. And that's what I did.
Wow. So the type of DJing you were doing, you were just a blender, you were a battle DJ. What style did you have?
Yeah, so oddly enough, like, because the battle culture was so rich back then, like, you had to battle, you had to break dance. If you were an MC, you had to battle. Cats just walk up on you on the street, like in my block, and you got to do push-up contests with a 40-year-old dude at 13 years old. So it was always that's just the way it was, right? And so a little bit of all of that, but I was also, I guess, all the way back to that 3rd grade, I was in this things that were harmonic, beat matching, blending things, kind of marrying, fusing sounds that were abstract and that people wouldn't think normally might work together, and getting them to work together. So that was like my wheelhouse, but I also became really adept at scratching with both hands. And a lot of cats could only work with their strong hand on the fader. I've gotten really good really quickly with my left hand, which is my off hand on the fader, and my dominant hand on the record, which helped me a lot when it came to like those battle situations. I did get embarrassed one time. Like I was in hiatus mode. I remember walking into Roosevelt High School. There was a party. There was a dude I was teaching. I'm not gonna name him. He was at my house every day, watching, and we were building. And they do a party at Roosevelt High School. I walk in after like not playing music for like 6 months, and they wanted to battle. I was like, I don't want to battle. I'm just here to support the brother. But I didn't, I stepped up and just took the L instead of walking out and having to deal with the plight of, oh, Kev is a coward.
Right.
So I was like, all right, I just spun a couple of records back and forth, didn't do anything, but he won that day. That was dope for him. but that was it. It was all about that competitive edge and like who's up, who's at the next level and who's trailing, So that was the culture that I grew up in.
Wow. That is so dope, bro. So now you get to 1997. Was there any event or anything in the DJing outside of just wanting to grow up and get married? But was there an event in the DJing that made you want to not do this anymore?
Sure thing, right? Like everybody wanted to make records. We had our little crew. Me, shout out to my man Milk. I don't know if he's in here in the chat. My man Dion Hayes Walker, our MC. All our little dancers. We had our group. We were trying to make records. I was fortunate enough, like that either we were good enough or people were trying to take advantage of us. No matter which one it was, we got some exposure. Right. I remember being in a room with Flash. I remember, it was a cat that used to manage Gladys Knight, and I remember us doing work with them in studios. I remember once upon a time sitting in, because my man Hayes grew up, his grandmother lived in Lincoln. We sat in Easy Rock's living room and talked music and all of that.
Right.
Like, so I think back to those things, and I remember us being frustrated but not being able to break through. We felt like we were as good as anyone else. Like Flex, Chuck Chill Out, Red Alert, all of those dudes. Like from a skill level, we felt like, man, if we ever seen the street and got a battle, we might could handle them.
Right.
but we, it didn't seem like we would ever get that opportunity to either battle them or to like really chop it up with them and be like, how do you break in? And you will know this, right? Back then, there was no talking to people about how you break in. DJs would cover the labels on the record. You couldn't. Everything was secrecy. Everything was secrecy. It was no sharing the knowledge, sharing the love. That's not how it worked,
Remember buying the bootleg records that just had one color on it? Nothing written, anything.
Nothing written on it. It was just a clean slate. Yeah, it was. I tell my daughters that, and they look at me like, really? Yeah.
Yeah,
it's the way it was. So those things definitely also played a role, right? Like you feel like, you're on a certain trajectory, you're putting in work, you see yourself, start getting accolades from others. Like I got some, pretty dope parties that I got to play music at when I was a kid, basically.
Right.
Like you said, a lot of those jams. We had the Webster PAL, and we had a couple of dope spots up in the Bronx back in the day, man.
Yeah.
The Palace and all of those places. I got to play parties at those places for some of those old school, those strip parties that they used to have. We used to. There was always they always needed DJs because the DJs used to get eaten alive in those parties, man. So you had to be brave to take those on. But like we got to play in some really dope events, Toro College, a couple of places as I think back. But not being able to break through, I think, sat with me. And at the same time, as I was maturing, and I was in a system on a job where I could see myself making progress, just apply myself, and there's a system there that says, no, there's no secrecy. You study, you train, you test, and if you cut the mustard, you move forward. I think that definitely was a little bit of a counterweight for me as I weighed professional career versus being a professional DJ long term.
Right. I hear you. So you take this hiatus. Now, when you did that, was the DJing itch still somewhere in you and you just kind of left it alone, or it was done?
Oh, no, it was hard, man. It was real hard. Like my boy
this, right?
Man.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, man, it was hard, bro. People would still call. They would see you, Kev, I need a party. I was like, yeah, Milk has my stuff. It's out in Queens because my boy Milk lived in Queens.
Yeah.
And he took he was gracious enough to take my 12s, my speakers, all my records, my break beats. We still fight about those break beats, man, because I want those back. But if he's listening, I need those break beats back. I had every volume, all 3 series. Like, I need those back. I'm just putting it out there to the whole world. If you see a dude named Milk, you know that I know him. Tell him Kev needs his break beats back. So he took all my stuff, man, and kept it and maintained it. He continued to do parties and stayed in it. I mean, he worked and did everything as well. He wasn't as serious as we were when we were kids either. Same thing, right. Children, family, you know. But he kept my stuff, man, for me. And I used to go to his crib in Queens every once and again. Like I get off work if I had something out in. I worked most of my career in the Bronx, and then when I started working in Brooklyn, with the housing authority. I used to move around. I had regional space to cover. So like if I had a job that ended in Brooklyn and it was like 8, 9, 10 at night, late night in Marcy or something, I'd be like, yo, Milk, what you doing? I'm coming through. And I would go catch some rec, you know, for 40 minutes, an hour, but just enough to kind of get that sensation and then leave. You know what I mean? And that was what I did, man. Every, 6, 7, 8 months. For a lot of years, you know, and then eventually just it stopped for a while altogether. About I would say like 8, 9 years. I didn't touch any hardware, and that it just, my mind was just focused on something different, you know.
So now, when you left, you know, the whole universe changed because we went from albums, vinyl, to CDs. To the beginning of digital, and now what it is now, and you kind of like missed all of that. So coming back in 2019, you said, right?
Yeah. Like 2018, 2019. 2018 was when I got my 12s back. Milk was like, hey, we just did some work, got these 12s cleaned up, man. Why don't you come get them? Because I'm getting ready to move, and I need to move some stuff around. I was like, no problem. He was living in Middletown, but I drove up there, got my turntables, left them in the trunk for, I don't know, 6 months, 7 months. Pandemic shows up, and I'm like, need something to do down here.
Middletown, New York, for everybody who don't know where you're talking about. Everybody
Middletown, New York is a little bit, so Bronx is, north as far as the 5 boroughs. Middletown, about an hour away. Up on Newburgh, maybe hour 15 minutes. No traffic, no issues,
right?
No troopers.
So you get these turntables back, and I don't know how they run, but they're 1200s, so they probably ran immaculately. Still,
they were good. They're a little gimpy. They took a beating, man, but they ran. They came on and spun.
So now, are you playing on vinyl, or did you get wind of the newer technology already?
Yeah. So by the time I got the turntables back, I had shifted jobs. I left Night Shift 2015, worked for a labor union 15 to 19, worked, and then 19 to recently worked at a dope nonprofit down in Midtown. And I would take the express bus home. So I would walk from 35th, where our office was, and 8th over to Madison to catch the bus. I would go past Rock and Soul. I would hear the music. I would see a brother in there spinning, and my interest was piqued. And I was like, man, I got my 12s in the basement. I know I'm not going to go get 17 crates of records and bring them down here. And I know the brothers are doing it on laptops. How are they doing it? So I went in. One day, a couple of weeks go by, and one day I finally just got and mustered up. I was like, you know what, I'm be a while for my bus. Let me stop in and ask some questions. What do I need to do to bridge the technology gap? This is where I started, left off, and this is what I have. What do I need? They're like, well, mixes are a lot different today. I was like, I was like, and how?
Wait.
There you go.
Different.
Mixes are a lot different today. Way different today. But a dope brother in there, man, named Derek, the official, who also has some Bronx roots, but lived out in Long Island mostly. related to Rock Marciano as well. Does a lot of dope gigs and work with them. Shout out to those brothers, man, to that team. He's with a group of dudes called the Buck 50 Cutters.
Right.
I went in, got a complimentary class with him, then took a few more with him. Funny enough, because I was like, well, man, I don't really need to learn how to DJ. I need to learn the technology. And he was looking at me like, yeah, everybody comes in here and says that. So by the time we had got through the class, he was like, we'll be battling soon. I was like, no, I'm not battling nobody no more. But I need to get to the technology piece. So he helped me a ton with that right off the bat. And then just ironically, you know, I started bumping into, once you put that energy back, you expose yourself to the culture. I started bumping into people like a brother that I didn't know. I was in a store called IDJ Now, Queens, Harlem Boulevard. Shout out to that team. And IDJ Now, dope spot. Brother was in there just kicking it with me, who had just started DJing on controllers and saw me messing around with some Rain 12s. And I was like, man, you worked on real turntables before? I said, yeah, I grew up on them. And he was like, yo, I got a restaurant, this and that and the other. He shot me some game. We kept in touch. I got a Rain 1 out of that deal.
Nice.
And like, yeah. So it's like, I'm like, all right, then now I got to learn how to use it though, because I was not a controller dude, but at least I got something with spinning platters, because I'm still to this day, I'm naked on jog wheels. I haven't really messed with that. And I'm reluctant, you know, because my instincts tell me I need something that spins. But yeah, dope.
Michelle is saying
man.
Michelle is saying you haven't missed a beat.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm fortunate, right? I still got the 12s and Serato. Yeah. Ironically, while I was thinking it was going to be more like the Jetsons, it's actually pretty simple. But I approach it like I consider myself a novice, right? Like when you're out that long and you're getting back in, like I don't expect anyone to remember me from the 90s and be like, Kev, let's pick up where you left off with gigs, with parties, with this, with that. Nope. I'm pounding the ground. I'm meeting people. I'm getting in the groups of people, you know, and just like approaching it as a novice. And if I can offer something, I'll offer something, you know, but I want to know and learn, you know, from the bottom up. That's the way you got, at least for me, that's the way that I'm trying to do it. No shortcuts.
So now what did you end up getting, the 12s, or you just stayed with that Rain 1?
No, I still have my 12s. I didn't get the Rain 12s though. I've
That's what I'm talking
touched
about,
them a lot. Like, yeah. Well, yeah, no, I didn't get the Rain 12s. I mean, I also thought about, like, you know, as it started feeling better and better to me, and a couple of folks were like, man, you know what, Kev, that kind of sounds good, man. Maybe you should think about it. And I'm like, well, if I go out, I'm definitely not taking turntables with me to do any parties again. So that Rain 1 is one piece. And, you know, I started doing some studying up on it, and it's ideal. I mean, I play every Thursday now at a spot. I'm up in Yonkers, dope restaurant. Shout out to my family up at Off the Hook of Yonkers. When you back up, we got to hit it. If you seafood loving, you ain't got allergies and all that, they crush it there. Yeah, they crush it there. And Thursdays we do a little happy hour with music, live DJ. That's super dope, you know.
Right.
That's an old school feel, reading the crowd, vibing and all that. And so that, shout out to those people too, man.
Yeah, man. So you meet my boy. You go to the Brolic Army.
Oh yeah, that was me, right? Like inquiring as I'm getting back, I'm down in the basement and I'm practicing, and I'm like, all right, so I felt like I didn't lose it in terms of my creativity, in terms of beat matching and all, like I said, abstract sounds, songs, genres, and all of that. But I was like, man, how can I learn some of these more advanced scratches? Where I left off, I was pretty good, like I said, with both hands, transforming and different things. But I left at the time, like those flares and all of that, all those crab scratching and boomerangs and all that was popping. And I wanted to learn that stuff then, but it just wasn't appealing to me, because I was like, I'm gonna make my money by making people dance, not by scratching.
Right.
So that was my mindset about it, why I never applied myself. So as I'm looking, I ping Rob Swift, like, just out of nowhere who's a legend, right, in his own right. DMC
Yep.
champ back in '92, Biz routine, all kinds of routines. I mean, there's shout out to Rob Swift. That dude is dope. He's doing college game day now, last year and this year every Saturday. And his school, Broderick Army DJ school, when I first pinged him, the school wasn't even up and running like that. I just pinged him and was like, yo, man, I'd love to talk to you about some one-on-one work. You know, what am I missing? What do you see in here when I apply? We did that a couple of times, and then it was like, yo, the school it was coming up. He must have been working on it. It was a business model of his, and for good reason. Dude is an incredible teacher, instructor, patient. Got a degree in psychology too, know how to get in your head, push you a bit. So that all of those things just kind of culminated at the same time. What he does in the school is he doesn't believe that he should have a school and his students not challenge one another. So he has competitions 3-4 times a year. And I was going to sit out the first one. In fact, I did. I think it was the Rock Raider challenge. Rest in peace to Rock Raider. It was a beat juggling challenge, but I sat out of that because I wasn't really comfortable in that space. I hadn't been applying myself. When he had the music mash challenge, like mashups and blending, I jumped in that one. I did all right. I placed 5th out of like 16 DJs, something like that.
That's
I wasn't
dope.
really. Yeah, listen, I was just doing it to get that confidence built up and boosted. I was a little sloppy, and I feel like I could have done better, but not because other DJs weren't good, but because I didn't apply myself, right? And that was why. Same reason I do it now, and I approach it the way that I do is like as if I'm a novice. I'm making some rookie mistakes. I need to clean that up, and once I tighten it up, I'm good. So I just continue to maintain our relationship with Rob, with the school, and he's got his battle for supremacy, the Civil War, the Broderick Army Civil War coming up in October. So that's like you got to give in quite a few routines because you're going to go against other DJs with beat juggling routines. So keep your eyes and ears posted. You know, follow Rob, follow the Broderick Army School, follow Level Kev at DJ_Level Kev for when I'm in and when that competition pops, and like root a brother on.
Now, where is it? Where is it going to be? Where is it going to be?
So we submit the videos virtually.
Oh, okay.
He used to do it live. He used to do it live. I remember cats being live, and at least when I would watch the replays as I was researching, they would be with him practicing and working out. Like when he was giving classes and instruction, he's got tons of videos where you will see that as the case. But now you pop them in, you know, virtually. You got to record them live. You got to verify that they live, whatever you do, and then him and a bunch of other dope established DJs. Varies depending on the competition. Will evaluate what you've submitted and done. Pair you, I guess, in this one, they'll pair you against other DJs based on skill level and tenure, et cetera, and then you know, chips will fall where they may. So I am looking forward to it, but I got some work to do getting the rest of those routines together. I got like two that I'm comfortable with. I got to get 5 in.
Nice. So we got Dawn here talking about Thirsty Thursdays at Off the Hook. What is that?
So full disclosure, Dawn is my wife. That's my dream
Dawn.
girl. I'm pretty sure that is that Dawn that's in there. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, Thirsty Thursdays. That is that's my Thursday spot at Off the Hook of Yonkers. Right, 47 North Main Street, Yonkers, New York. Every Thursday, we do kind of the happy hour thing. They open at 4. Happy hours 4 to 7, but you know we kind of extended and rock till 8, 9 o'clock. I think this week we're gonna do the same. Another shameless plug. You know, 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks now. I got a birthday coming. So that Thursday night, my birthday is Friday the 16th, but that Thursday I'm definitely gonna be there and definitely gonna play. So. You know, hopefully some folks that are local and are in town will come through and celebrate with us.
Yeah. Well, happy birthday. Everybody in the chat, give DJ Level Kev a birthday shout out. Oh man. So
thank you much. Appreciate that.
So what's in the future for you? You have this event in October, this battle for supremacy.
Yeah.
What's in the future, 2023 and going? This is as the recording of this. It's September. What is that? Almost fourth quarter.
Yep.
in 2022. So what's 2023 and on gonna be like?
So just thinking that through, right, like out loud, I've been jotting some things down here in the household and like on in two different professional tracks. Obviously, this year's the big 50, by the way, right? Like it's a benchmark birthday. Um, Thank you to the good Lord above for allowing me to see 49 and 360 some odd days thus far till we get there. But obviously, want to do the responsible thing in terms of planning. I've done a lot of streaming as well, like on Twitch. That's helped me kick a lot of rust off, gotten a lot of different folks reaching out and following. So I think one of the things that is up next, probably just past the party when I get a little bit more space to focus on it, I'm definitely going to start putting some of this stuff together on the production side and maybe putting out some, we used to call them mixtapes. People still call them mixtapes, but there's really no more of these rolling around. You know what I mean? But this is what they call them still.
Right.
So I'm definitely going to push some of that out with some of those mashups and some of my, most celebrated work in the eyes of folks that have been listening to me and rocking with me. So I think that's on the immediate uptake. Shout out to the Mix Show DJs as well. Those brothers, man, out in Queens. I met the brother Earns, DJ Earns, who's super solid cat. Just getting this thing going with the Mix Show team, teaching, training. We have events where we show up, get together, practice, work out, just build everything from the technology side of it, to the actual scratching on turntable workshops. We do controller workshops. That brother does a ton, man, and all the folks, ladies and gentlemen that are involved with that, Adriana and Mitch and all of them. So rolling with that group, rolling with Rob and the competitions in the Brolic Army School, the Thirsty Thursdays gig, and just kind of keep moving that needle forward a little bit. For me, it's just, not looking too far down the road, but like I remember this is true even in my career with the housing authority. Take care of the little things and those steps that are right in front of you, and understand where you can go and where you want to and don't, and the rest just kind of takes care of itself. So if I end up on a radio station somewhere, that'll be dope. I think I got some more refining to do before I get there, but I'm here for it. and I'm gonna keep banging. You know what I mean? If I end up in a situation where I'm teaching and training and helping folks, or running with a multi-op or whatever, then that's dope too. But I also want to make sure that it's manageable. Family is still a big deal. That's important. I want to make sure I can take them along for the ride and do whatever needs to be done for them here in the house.
That's exactly what the wife said. What's next? Learning, teaching, growing, and building.
Yeah, learning,
y'all
teaching, growing,
y'all
building,
in sync. Y'all in sync for real.
That's it. That's a Kevinism right there. That's one of those phrases that came up as I caught a heater on a stream a couple of weeks ago and decided to grab the mic because we were just talking about that and it stuck. So we're gonna brand that, learning, teaching, growing, building. We're gonna brand it. We're gonna get it on some merch. We're gonna get it, we're gonna get some drops going. And like a lot of what we do and have been about also is about uplifting folks. So, quietly, but super supportive of folks. And then that's the way we want. That's just the way we roll. So anybody looking for that, to be uplifted, understand something, business wise, like we here for that.
Right. Man, this was so dope, bro. I know you got like a lot more, but I'm gonna just hit you with a few more questions. So one of the questions I like to ask more towards the end of my interviews is, what do you tell that DJ that's coming up that don't have any connections, that don't know anything? What are you telling that DJ to inspire them to move forward with DJing?
Call me. Ironically, Saturday. Because I know, and at 50, I feel like I'm 14 again, right? Like I did a party Saturday. The birthday girl was turning 21, so the crowd was a younger crowd, and a couple of them were artists in there. I was like, send me your music. I'll play your music in my streams. I remember what it was like when you know what I mean? You either had to pay somebody or like be somebody's nephew to get something played or get in the door. And that was a part of that frustration that contributed maybe some to my thinking about walking away. So now when people approach me with those kinds of questions, and there was a young brother that asked me, he was like, hey man, my dad used to DJ. I think I might have it in my DNA. What will it take? I was like, here's my QR, scan it. Anything you ever need to know, reach out. You want to talk controllers, turntables, practice, just reach out. You know, and because I couldn't obviously talk with him at a party, I'm supposed to be playing music, but I told him, like, reach out outside of this, man. I will pick up the phone or answer your texts or your emails and give you some guidance, you know, get you connected. One of the best things about this era is social media and groups like, you know, what my brother Ernst is doing with the mix show DJs and all of that. That's what we're about. So young people trying to come in, trying to learn, that's what we're about. That's what Rob is doing, teaching people through his school, everything from basic DJing, the very beginning, all the way to advanced, to music editing, to all of that. So that's, you know, I'm very fortunate, I feel like, to be, you know, connected to and involved in and can give firsthand reference to at least two very solid spots that I've participated in and have relationship with, that I know if I'm referring people to those things, like they're going to get what they came for and then some. So I feel like that's dope. And that, you know, that's just good karma.
Yeah, definitely. It really is, just to help somebody along. Oh, so shout out to Brolic Army, shout out to Rob Swift, and everything that he's doing. Shout out to you. Shout out to your family. Shout out to
They
my
in there. I see my
family.
daughters in there now.
Shout out to everybody else. Shout out to freeagentradio.com.
So,
shout out to international DJ Tommy Lee, heavy hitter DJ Cam. They were all on this stream, by the way.
Dope. Indeed, shout out to those folks.
So,
indeed,
I don't know what else to ask you, because you said a mouthful. You said almost 45 minutes worth of gems, bro.
Appreciate that. I hope so, man. I appreciate that. It's unscripted. It's just the experience, you know. It's what it's been, and yeah, you can help folks with that, man. That's a big deal. That's a big deal, man.
We were talking offline. Yeah, we were talking offline. It was like, if this interview doesn't go well, we always could talk about sports.
Yeah, we can shift. It'll be a very miserable talk. New York sports is miserable conversation, but you know, we could do it if we want to be miserable this Tuesday.
Aaron Judge, you know.
Well, we do have him. Yes, he is the tugboat. He is tugboat extraordinaire right now. Like with a kid, he's pulling us along. Everybody else better get in gear. Stanton's hurt again. Who knows what's happening? I'm not hanging my hat on him, but we'll see.
But this was definitely a dope interview. I wish you nothing but success. Let us know, definitely. I will post it. I'll get you into my DJ group, my DJ interview group, and you can post your competition in, you said October, right?
Yeah, October is, it's going to jump off in October.
We'll post that up and get everybody involved. Oh man, thank you so much for coming back on. This is the new season, and we got a slew of DJs coming up in the next couple of weeks, all the way up until I think December. We are going. We got some big time producers. We got other DJs. We got some name brand DJs that more people know. We got it is just so right now we are streaming to Facebook, YouTube, couple of Facebooks, YouTube, Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, and a couple other places I don't know right now, but we are just doing it up.
Going global. We're global. Kev is global. That's dope. At least I get some of my kids here in the chat. They
Yeah,
get to see the pops global.
we get viewers from all over.
Indeed, that's
Anybody
amazing.
have any questions for Kev? If not, Kev, where can everybody reach you and connect with you?
Easy. So on, I think Instagram is probably where I'm most accessible. Like if you're just trying to reach out to me, that's going to be at DJ underscore level Kev. But I'm also on Facebook, DJ Level Kev. I'm on Twitter, but I don't tweet. I just read and laugh and watch the politics unfold. And live, obviously, like we gonna continue to do community events. We were up at Edenwald. I know Edenwald Day was 2 Saturdays ago, 3 Saturdays
Yeah,
ago. Last Saturday, we were up there. We had a back to school like drive and giveaway. I worked with some brothers from up there and a sister from up there who runs and owns a day, does a lot of charitable work. So I played music for the kids. We ran tournaments for them. So I'll be posting those things up. You could definitely also follow me on Twitch at DJ underscore level underscore Kev for when I'm streaming. I'm looking to expand and move into different platforms for streaming as well. And soon enough, like if you enjoy the music, like I said, I think I'm going to start building a little bit of a catalog from some of those the best ones that I've done thus far. And people have been really reaching out to me and asking me like, man, you need to put that down for consumption. I'm gonna put those out probably sometime late September, October, and just kind of keep it rolling from there. And always, like patronize, man, small Black businesses, man. Off the Hook Yonkers is that. It's a family-owned business, family-run establishment. Like food is insanely good. We complement it with the music and the vibe.
right.
Love to see folks come out and just pay tribute, come get some good eats, enjoy a good time. That's the biggest compliment a DJ can have, is that people come and say, man, we had a good time.
Yeah,
That's the ultimate
definitely.
compliment.
Definitely. Oh man. So everybody's giving you shout outs and wishing you
Appreciate that.
well.
Appreciate
So
that. Appreciate
man. So we're gonna end this thing. This is Harry the Big Dog, and this is the DJ interview. We had our special guest, DJ Level Kev, from up north, Edenwald area.
There you go. That was second home. That was second home for me. I spent a lot of years there. Happy birthday. Appreciate you.
Shout outs for you.
Indeed. Appreciate you.
You got people that's proud of you.
Cuz.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh,
Last
definitely with the
one.
mashed potatoes.
Oh,
Nice. Appreciate
thank
that.
you. Congrats. Thank you. And thank everybody for
I'm
supporting.
back.
This is episode
Indeed.
90. So
90. Yeah.
we got 10 more for episode 100. And that's a milestone, bro. So a lot of people don't
Yeah.
get to
That's
100 anythings.
well, listen, man. I know you talking about similar story, right? A little bit of hiatus. I know you spin and you coming back out. So maybe 400 you're gonna break out. Maybe 400 you're gonna break out some of that vinyl I saw you moving.
Maybe,
Put something
man.
down for folks, man.
Maybe.
Right?
Maybe. We will definitely see how far
Let's
I
do
get
it.
with it. But
Let's do it.
man, thank you, bro. And this is this season is gonna be the breakout season. Yes, Edenwald in the house.
I'm in the building. That's what's up, Eden Wall.
This is yeah. Number 90, very impressive. Yeah.
Very impressive indeed, man. Indeed.
Yes.
Continuity, brother.
Yep. It is so dope to be here. Thank you guys. This is Harry the Big Dog with the DJ interview, and we are out.